Mhm.
So, hi, Katrina. Hi again, and welcome to Career Break Exchange. Thanks for being a guest on this event, and thanks for joining me experience my first awkward moment before a live event.
It's a
It's good.
pleasure.
It's
Yeah.
really good. It's really good to see you.
You too. Thank you for inviting me to do this. And thank you for reaching out and connecting so that we could be here together doing this.
I'm really glad I did. So for those of you who may not know what Career Break Exchange is, it's a community, nonprofit community that allows those of us in this part of the world. I'm from Ghana, and we realize that career breaks seem very foreign to a lot of us, even though there are people who are taking them. So we just wanted to create this platform to allow different people from all walks of life and different stages of their career break journey, from those who are just curious, like, is it even a thing, to those who are actively planning on a break, returning from a break, or hopefully who want to be like you, Katrina, and go again. So we have a WhatsApp channel. You find the link in the description if you want to join us there, follow us. Today we have Katrina McGee, the author of Career Break for Dummies. I did not know the book existed, but it was so exciting reading and following everything you said, and even the stories that you shared about your journey. So this feels like I've met a friend because I've heard so much about it already. Katrina,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us once again. Please, please, please tell us who you are, what you do. Definitely came from a corporate background, like some of us. I'm in a corporate space and went on to go on a career break, went on to become a career break coach. And yeah, tell us more and how, yeah, how we came up with these 10 career break rules. That's a loaded question, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All good. Well, again, thank you for reaching out so that we could be here doing this. I've been looking forward to this and I'm so excited to be here. So, my intention is just to answer as many questions and just provide information and inspiration for people, no matter where they are on their career break journey. My story starts as an actuary in the healthcare industry here in the United States. And, I went to a great undergraduate program. I was a math major. I was really good at sort of following the rules for making money and being successful. I wanted a good job. I found a great job and I worked in that career for 8 years. But it became clear to me pretty early on that it wasn't my forever, right? It wasn't what
Mm,
I wanted to do forever. It didn't stimulate me or spark my spirit the way that I had hoped work would when I was younger. So
mhm.
eventually I left my corporate career as an actuary to go back to get my MBA. So I got my
Okay.
MBA, yeah, at a top 20 program. And I focused on marketing and market research, ultimately, is where I ended up. And I really hoped, I would find something that really spoke to me and used more of my gifts. But unfortunately, I had this great opportunity. I accepted a great job after graduation. I moved out to Minnesota. I started working for a very big company, but it really became clear to me in that second career that at that stage of my life, corporate wasn't working for me. And quite honestly, I was just feeling really confused about why I was achieving so much success on the outside, but feeling on
Mhm.
the inside like the life I had wasn't fulfilling, or I wasn't feeling the joy and connection to myself
Mhm.
and the work I was doing in the way I had wanted to. So
Wow.
I ultimately decided I really wanted to take a break. I was also feeling burnt out. I had this dream of traveling the world. I hadn't really traveled much up to that point.
Okay.
I was in my very early 30s at that time. And I wondered what the world looked like. And I knew my annual paid time off wasn't going to help me see the world the way I wanted to.
Mhm.
So I only had like 1,500 US dollars in my bank account, and I had probably like $50,000 worth of student loan debt at that time. But I knew I was going to need to save a lot of money to take a break. So I
Mhm.
made a plan. I went on to save about $40,000 in 18 months. I quit my job and I traveled around the world, and it was life changing. And I was so good at managing money that 12-month break that I originally thought became 20 months. And then I came back and I wasn't sure, will people want to hire me? Will I be able to find a job? This was one of the
Mhm.
really big fears that kept me up at night
Yep.
when I thought about taking a break. It's like, what am I going to be going back to? Have I ruined like all of these years of work? and my career to like just take this break. But I was very fortunate. I was really proud of my break. I used it as an asset in my cover letter. I talked about it on my resume, and I definitely talked about it in the interviews. And I ended up
Mm.
landing 5 job offers in 5 weeks. And
Wow.
so 5 weeks of searching, I had 5 offers. One was a raise and a promotion, one was a dream job, one was a career change. Like I had a lot of options. So I took the dream job and I went back to corporate. I paid off
Mhm.
all of my student loan debt in two
Mhm.
years. And then I got certified as a life coach. And even though I really loved this job I was doing, I really felt like I wanted to have more autonomy and freedom in my life. I
Mhm.
finally felt ready for the first time to explore entrepreneurship. I was not ready for that before.
Mm.
And I really just wanted to help people in a more personal way and a more meaningful way.
Mm.
I wanted to change lives. And so I got certified as a life coach and started helping people do that. So I've been doing this now for 7 years. I am happy to say I have supported 96 career breaks to date, so almost 100.
96.
Yeah, 96. And it just continues to gain momentum. I think the pandemic really amplified the idea of people taking breaks. It did more to
Mhm.
normalize the idea of people taking breaks. And I think what we'll see and what I hope we see, and, like we talked about the book, right? Like I wrote this
Mhm.
book to help people give themselves permission to take a break and to also ensure that the journey is a successful one for them, like it was for
Mhm.
me, like it is for my clients. And I really think the culture around work is shifting. And I think breaks will start to be a more normalized and accepted form of
Mhm.
creating a sustainable career where you can find health and balance, happiness, well being integrated into the work that you're doing over the lifetime of your career journey.
Wow. Wow. That's you learn something new every day. I thought like this part I've got it covered. I've read about it. I've followed you. But there are new things that I learned. And I love the fact that you're giving people permission. I think that's what we want to do at Career Break Exchange as well. Give people permission to explore, to dream, even give people permission to go like, no, now I know enough. This is not for me. Or to say, now I know enough. I want to try. I want to find a community that helps with it. This is so great, Katrina. Congrats. That was a big move. That was, I can only imagine, like more than 8 years of your life going like that way is amazing. I'm really glad you took that move. I'm really glad you can inspire people to dream bigger than they have right now. So I can't wait to ask you when you say we should create the 10 career break rules, right? Let me see if I can okay, I won't be able to pull it up now. But the 10 career break rules, and just for those who may not know what they are, I will just briefly read through them. Just briefly read through them. So first one is create your own definition of success. Plan for a re-entry period, know your numbers, leave your job on great terms. I love that one.
Yeah.
Disconnect from the working world, put the focus back on you, give yourself some grace, approach life differently, slow down for extended travel, hype your career break experience. So for those of you who want to find out where that we dropped it in the WhatsApp channel, you can take a look at it. But we'll start with question rule number one, create your own definition of success. What is your advice for people? Why do you even recommend this? And how do people kind of like break out of the mold of how things should go? I think we're in a society, it's not just about breaks. I trained as an electrical engineer and now I'm into insurance. So it's very weird. And then into project management. And I even like, remember experiencing like you wasted your time. Like everybody has this idea of how your life should be. So I'm sure everybody will have an idea of how your break should or should not be. So tell us a bit more about that rule. Create your own definition of success.
Yeah, it is the foundation of having an experience that when you make it to the end, you look back and say it was worth it. It was worth the money, it was worth any sacrifice. This changed my life for the better. you have to design your break with the end in mind. So you need to
Mm,
know what that end is, right? You have to be intentional and figure out what is the purpose of this break. If I could fulfill this purpose, this will have been a successful break. This is
mm,
really important when it comes to designing your break, but also when life hands you surprises, good ones and bad ones, being able to go back to the main intention, the purpose statement for this break is going to help you decide how to pivot. So if your purpose, right, if your deep sort of like underlying purpose for this break is that you feel like you have neglected your health, neglected your well-being, maybe neglected your joy. And maybe let's say this break is a chance to rediscover that, to connect to things that you love, and to just get back to yourself. That is a huge thing to live your whole life and never achieve. So I want you to achieve it, right? So when you get a new job opportunity and somebody sees you're on a break and they're like, hey, I have this great job, I'm going to pay you more money, you can
mhm,
go back to your purpose and you can say, okay, have I fulfilled this purpose of reconnecting to myself and really pouring into my well being so I'm nourished enough to go on another 10 or 20 years before I take another break? Or you
mhm,
might say, actually, that's a lot of money. That's a great opportunity, but this is my chance to take care of myself. And if I don't take this moment, I won't be any good to this company because another year from now, I'm going to be burnt out all over again and feeling
mhm.
even more resentful and unhappy, right? Or if
Yeah.
something, like tragic happens, like you lose a loved one. I lost a loved one during my break. I've had clients who've lost a parent. I've had
Oh,
clients
geez.
who've gotten a divorce. Like things, serious life things will happen at all times, including during your break. And so
Wow.
if you're navigating a challenge, figuring out how do I pivot to still honor what my intention was, but
Mhm.
on this new, like in this new circumstance with this new reality, it can be very helpful so that you're still achieving success, even if your break looked different than before. So I want you to think your break is worth it. I want it to change your life for the better. You've got to know what that actually means, though, before you start going into your break so that you're always sort of using it as like a North Star to move in that direction.
I think you've given us a topic for even career break exchange on knowing what your theme is for your break and being able to go back to it. I think one thing that jumped out for me is that life will happen and it won't happen beautifully with butterflies and sunshine all the time for everyone on a break. You could be like the person who experienced a divorce or lost a parent. So having those themes are like really like your star, your compass in navigating the break. Lovely. I also want to ask about the importance of planning for a re-entry period. When I read your book, that really stood out for me. And I'm like, that makes sense because if a lot of people I have spoken to are afraid to go on a break, but they can plan a re-entry period, that could help a lot. But please tell us a bit more about it for those who haven't read the book yet. Please read the book.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Tell us
please
a
read
bit
the book.
more about the re-entry period and what people
For
can look
sure.
out for.
Yeah, I mean, the reentry period, I think, has multiple benefits, but two of the biggest. So let's talk about having good energy. I landed 5 job offers in 5 weeks after I started searching because of my reentry period. So
Hmm.
when we talk about having good energy, getting your mind right, being focused, you need time to really not only decompress from your break or sort of just process it, like to really just like process and reflect on what did I learn? What in my break experience did I love and I want to carry forward in my life post break? What was I seeing in my life now that I have some distance? What do I see in my life before the break that I don't want to bring with me? And when I go
Hmm.
back to work, what do I
Mm.
consciously want to leave
Mm.
behind? Right. A
Yeah.
reentry period helps you get your mind in that place where you are really clear and you are really able to like just decide what you want and let that better version of you solidify and emerge for the job search. It
Hmm.
also helps you have time to thoughtfully job search, so you're looking for jobs that you actually want, that are raising the bar in your life instead of settling for something because you're desperate. What will
Mm.
happen if you don't take a reentry period is you will go through your break, and about the time that you think it's going to end, you will start to feel so much anxiety and so much fear around,
Hmm.
am I going to find a job? I'm running out of money. what am I going to do? And that desperate energy that feels something like, oh my gosh, is anyone going to want to hire me? I don't even know. Like, oh my gosh, I got to
Mhm.
network. I got to find a job. I got it. Like this anxious energy,
Mhm.
it's going to like repel people,
Mhm.
employers, right? It's like dating. You want to date people that are confident and they're like, I'm the best. Like I mean, not like in a cocky way, but just like I bring a lot to the table and here's
Yeah.
why. And I'm grounded in that. And I could take it or leave it. I'm only looking for partners that are really willing to treat me well. You don't want the
Mhm.
person that's like, I don't want to be alone. Like, please just
Mhm.
pick me. Like, right? You want to feel like they're an asset. And so it
Mhm.
applies in the situation. So giving yourself that time helps you go through the search. It helps you process your experience so that you can be that stellar candidate and you can really craft the story of your break to be able to talk
Mm.
about it in a way that you're highlighting it and using it as an asset. You'll know what you got from it. You'll know what lessons you've learned. You'll know how it benefited you. But the other secret benefit, I think, to the reentry period is when you're on a break, or even
Mm.
like you mentioned, when you're planning a break, it gives you a specific time to deal with the fear and the worry and the stress of what will I do next, so that those stressful things don't stop you from taking a break.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I've got some time. I've budgeted for that. I have money and time to figure that out. Or when you're on a break and you're having a great time, and then all of a sudden your brain remembers, we don't have a job. And what are we going to do when it's over? Instead of like crying and being like, oh my God, like I didn't even know, I should just stop this break right now. Right? You can be like, oh, that's okay. The re-entry period in 3 months. I'll worry about it then. So it kind of protects the break and the break experience so that you don't ruin it with the fearful part of your brain that like just wants to know what's going to come next.
Lovely, lovely. Like this is just so refreshing, especially when you said when you're on a break and you don't want to like fill it with all that fear. I have a friend who goes like, "Oh, future Joshua, I'll think about that." Like, Joshua, what are you going to do tomorrow? It's like, Joshua on Saturday, we'll worry about that. Joshua today is going to play football. Like,
Yeah, I
so
love that.
I love the way the re-entry period allows you to have you later thinking and worrying about that. And also the fact that the decompression and processing, because sometimes you're all enjoying it and all, but now the transition in that period is a good time to just go like, what did this break give me? How did it serve me? And how will it serve others as I go back into
Yeah.
the full-time job or whatever you're going back to. So yeah, lovely, lovely. Now, one of my favorite parts, because we've had a few interviews and a lot of people talk about this and a lot of people worry about this too. Let's talk about the rule, know your numbers. What
Yeah.
does that rule mean? And yeah, basically, what should we do? And do you have a good example from others and maybe someone who probably didn't do it just as well and what they could have done differently?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to knowing your numbers, there are lots of numbers you could track, but
Mm,
essentially, I think there are two that are really, really important to have a good experience. So, A, to make you feel more confident in taking a break, but B, when you're on a break, to make sure you don't run out of money or you don't end up in a bad situation. So, you want to think about an estimated overall cost. For some
mm,
people, maybe you get a severance package, maybe you just have savings, maybe it's, like maybe you've been saving for this and you have a fund to set aside. For some people, they're going to start with the number, so they're going to say, I'd like to take a 3 to 6 month break, but it's going to be based off of this $10,000 that I have saved or this
mm,
$20,000. And so the number, they're going to know the number. For other people like myself, I didn't have really any money. I knew what I wanted to do, so I had to work to save. But knowing that number, like that estimated cost, gave me a goal to save. So it made saving easier, it made saving
mhm.
faster, but it also helped me know this is how much money I need to take the kind of break I want to take. So regardless of like what your situation is, if you're starting with the time or you're starting with the amount, you want to have an estimated, I want to spend X number, X thousands of dollars on this break. That is
Mm,
helpful to know, right? When you're on the break, you're always able to go back to that number. And if you're spending money faster than you thought, you either
mhm,
need to slow it down or you need to be prepared to have a shorter break. Or if you're
mhm.
like myself, where you're like, this money is lasting longer than I thought, you'll know I could extend my break or I could go back, but at least I know where I'm at. So, number one, the estimate. Number two is having a general budget for your break. So, this was an
Okay.
interesting surprise for me. I've seen this with some of my clients who find me when they're on a break and they're struggling. So when
Mm-hmm.
we talk about things that maybe they didn't do so well or they could do better, um, they had one number that they kind of had set aside for the break, but they weren't giving themselves permission to do things on their break outside of get
Ooh.
groceries, pay the rent, and things like that because they were so afraid of losing that money. So I encourage you to think
Ooh.
about setting a budget, not just so you don't go over, that's important, but also so that you actually can give yourself permission to spend money on things that bring you joy, on things that foster connection, on things that allow you to have deep restoration, right? So
Mm.
for some of my clients, they give themselves a monthly allowance for the break so they know what the cost of living is for like
Mm-hmm.
housing and food. And then they give themselves an extra amount to spend on anything break related. For other clients, they think about, okay, my purpose statement is this, but my themes are connection, restoration, and
Mm-hmm.
joy. And so when they're
Okay.
thinking about that, they're thinking, okay, I am going to put $5,000 to connection. I'm going to put, $3,000 to joy, and I'm going to put $4,000 to
Nice.
restoration. And so maybe some themes are more important than others, and you want them to have a bigger budget. It
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't matter how you break it down. I just want you to have a targeted amount that you would like to spend for career break activities and for career
Mm-hmm.
break, endeavors and experiences so that you can give yourself permission and make sure that you don't go over budget and suddenly have to like end your break very abruptly without that re-entry period.
Mm-hmm. I love what you said about budgeting for the different themes and what they mean to you. I know someone who literally loves nice gadgets. So they would spend on nice gadgets. So I can imagine them going on a break and having a budget for, let me get the latest device here during my break when it's released. Whereas for me, I can be more experiential. So I'll be like, oh, let me go for spa, let me meet up with friends and eat and chat. So it's amazing how even the first one about defining what the break should be for you comes into even how you spend and save for the money and
Yeah.
having a clear target. For those who are planning for a break, I can imagine if I knew someone and I'd call and say, let's go out for lunch, you'd be like, oh no, thank you, because they know where the money is going
Yes.
and how soon they want to go on that break. So yeah,
Yes. That's
this
so
is
true.
this is
I love that you said
interesting.
that. Yeah.
This is very
Exactly right.
interesting. Now, there's one of the rules that for me personally, as I read the book, I'm like, okay. And I feel maybe someone else will go like, okay, as well. For those of you who just joined us on the live, please head to the WhatsApp channel. You have a picture of the 10 career break rules, and please drop your questions in the chat. We will take them. If yes, we'll have some more time for questions. So please drop them in the chat. If anything comes to mind, just drop in the chat. Don't be shy. We would read it out to Katrina. Katrina is a career life break coach, guys. This is what she does for a living. So you're getting this for free. So please use it.
Yes.
We
Yes,
appreciate this
please.
time, Katrina. So yes, tell us about the rule that says disconnecting from the work world.
Mm,
Obviously, Katrina, people are going on a break to disconnect. So why on earth is that even a rule? And
wow.
what should
Yeah.
people look out for to properly disconnect and get the most from their break? And
Yes.
what are some of the temptations that people should be
hmm
aware of that could really
Yeah.
draw them from not disconnecting? I think that's the word.
Yeah. This had to be a rule because I see so many people make this mistake,
Hmm.
including some of my clients. And I actually, in the beginning, I wasn't catching them doing this and I didn't know they were staying connected. It was like a sneaky thing. And now I'm like, oh, I have to be very explicit. So this is, I'll tell you why, and then I'll give you examples of what that looks like. So the bigger why is that when you decide to take a break, you are deciding to invest in your well being and to
Mm,
pour your energy, time, and money into everything else outside of work. Because for so long, work is the main thing. Like work and
yeah.
maybe family are like the main things that you pour your time and energy into, which is great, but it's not all there is to life. But people, I see people think that that's what they're going to do. But
Okay.
secretly, they keep trying to pour more energy and time into staying connected to work. And it's a
Mhm.
fear-based thought. It's not from
Okay.
joy. It's not like, it makes my heart sing to be connected to work, even though I'm burnt out. It just brings me to life. That's not it, right? It's like, I have to stay a little bit connected because people are going to forget about me. I'm going to lose my edge.
Oh,
Like, what if there's a great job that comes available and I miss it? And it was my one chance to get that dream job. And I was too busy being on a break to notice. It's very
I'm getting
fearful, very
palpitations from
scarcity.
your description.
Yes, right? Yeah, I know. But it's like a very scarcity minded,
Mm-hmm.
right? It believes
Mm-hmm.
that like it's very finite and that your break is sort of inherently bad or like doing something wrong. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to realize the biggest possible impact that your break could give you, if you truly are in it to make that investment of your time, energy, and money worth it,
Mm-hmm.
you need to like actually pour into the other parts of your life. You need to focus on your health. You need to
Mm-hmm.
focus on the things that bring you joy. You need to focus on connecting, being in nature, whatever it is that your break is about. Pour into that because the version of you that comes back from that break is so fulfilled, so animated, so inspired, so motivated, and so clear with a new perspective, a new sort of vigor and vim for life, like really excited to go make an impact. What I see people do is check LinkedIn for jobs, check and scroll Indeed for jobs just in case, feel like they have to be doing coffee chats or messages to their network, giving them updates, reading articles, checking the
Mm.
numbers, like trying to assess where the job market is. So if they see like a news article that talks about the job market is terrible, even though they're not actually looking for a job and it's irrelevant in this moment what the job market is doing, they'll
Mm.
start obsessively reading to stay connected to like what's going on in their industry or the job market in general. And like it's so much worry. So what happens
Mm.
is you're not pouring all that energy into like the other things that matter. You're not pouring all that energy into being present for your break. So the change that you want, the fulfillment, the well-being that you're looking for can't happen because you're not giving it your time and attention. You're giving it to this other thing that you're trying to create some
Mm.
disconnection from, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, all that to say, what I recommend, right, is that you have a detox period, like cut it off.
Okay.
Do not network with your peers right away. Give yourself some time to open yourself up to new ideas. Also, you're going to have a lot of FOMO if you stay connected because all your friends are going to be working. And even though they're burnt out, some of them are still going to be getting promoted. Some of them are
Yeah.
going to be getting raises. Some of them are going to be working on special projects. And your
Mm-hmm.
brain is going to keep telling you, that could have been me, but I'm on a break. That should have been me. I'm falling behind. It's like, it's kind of like if you're in a place where you feel like you really just want to love your life, but you're
Mm-hmm.
scrolling social media every day, comparing yourself to people, the best thing you can do is take your phone, put it down, and give
Mm-hmm.
yourself a week off of social media so that you just
Mm-hmm.
start focusing on you. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with your break and searching for a job. You have to put it down for a while so that you can
Mm.
take care of you. And then the best version of you emerges that's ready to crush it when you go back to work, if that's what you decide to do. So,
Yeah.
don't do the LinkedIn. Shut it down. I recommend putting that you're on a break. You can paste an
Mm.
announcement. You can post an announcement like, I'm so excited. I'm about to take a break. I
Mm-hmm.
hope you'll cheer me on. Some of you might be hearing from me in a few months when I'm re-emerging. These are some highlights, like whatever you want to share. I give some examples in the book, but whatever you want to share, like announce it if you want to, but don't stay connected. Don't be looking for jobs and don't be
Mm-hmm.
having coffee chats right away with people worrying that you're leaving it behind.
Lovely. Lovely. Like, wow. This part of the book was a bit, for want of a better expression, is it foreign?
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
something I couldn't easily relate to, but it made a lot of sense. I remember listening it to again, and I'm glad you've mentioned how the FOMO can really get to you. And if anytime you're investing in something, you are not investing in something else. So if you're
Yeah.
supposed to be investing in yourself on a career break and you're investing in the things you're taking a break from, guess who's not getting the investment that you so worked hard and planned for or taking a huge chunk of your savings for? So I love what you said. I'm trying to see if I can access the chat. I'm struggling a bit with it. My eyes have been shifting a bit. However, we do have another question. When you do talk about hype your career break experience, and I love that you said at the
Yeah.
beginning, it was in your CV, it was in your cover letter, you spoke about it during the interview. Katrina, that was bold. But
Yeah.
tell us about why it's not simply just a bold move, it's a right move. And why should
Yeah.
everybody take pieces, if not all, of their career break and show up in the work world once again, or whichever path they choose with it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, it was a bold move. And, I did this, I came back to work in 20, the end of 2016, the beginning of 20, like around 2015, I believe, the
Mhm.
beginning of 2015, if I got that right. And so a break was like, what? Like nobody was talking about it. There wasn't a LinkedIn feature for career breaks at that time. So it was like a really, really bold move,
There are no
But
platforms like
here,
Career Break Exchange.
yeah, no, and nothing like that. And so here's what's true though. It's a
Hmm.
part of my story. And what I believe is that, and I believe this now, I believed this then. I have the same experience before the break and after the break. Nobody has taken away my job experience. That is mine to keep forever. My education, mine to keep forever. My expertise, the things that I know and specialize in, mine to keep forever. My network was mine to keep. My break did not take any of these assets away from me. But what it
Okay.
did is it added a fifth asset, which is a unique story. It added a unique aspect. It meant that I wasn't burnt out. It meant that
Hmm.
I was demonstrating my integrity of doing a brave thing and being a person who honored what was true for her and had the courage to do brave things. So here's why it mattered. Companies were going to see my gap on my resume, right?
Hmm.
I can either hide from it and downplay it, which is essentially like communicating, please don't ask me about this. I'm a little bit ashamed of it. It was a non starter. I didn't really
Hmm.
get any benefit from it. It wasn't that useful. It's not important enough for me to talk about. Please just ignore it. It makes, even though it makes me, which makes me seem a little bit less than of a candidate. But what I chose to do was
Hmm.
highlight it and say, let me explain that gap and how I used that time to heal my burnout, how I used that time to pursue things that I valued, how I used that time to become more in integrity with the work that I do and the spaces that I give my time and attention to. Let me highlight for you the benefits I got from this time. So
Hmm.
now if you imagine, like we say in the US, like hamsters on a hamster wheel, kind of how it
Hmm.
feels to be working a corporate job, all the other hamsters in the office never took a break. They're tired. They're like running, like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm burnt out. And then you get to be the hamster that comes in after taking a break and be like, I'm good. I am ready to go. Give me the wheel. I will run. And I'm not even tired. Like, I'm not even breaking a sweat. I'm so excited to be back. And so I chose to frame it in that way where it's like, I'm coming with more than these other
Hmm.
people. Like I have the same experience they do, the same expertise, the same, education, but I'm coming with a little extra something. And so when you tell the story of your break in a way where it's an asset, where you can talk about the benefits and the lessons,
Hmm.
you are allowing yourself to become a standout candidate. People are going to wonder what you did during that time if you took a
Hmm.
significant break, right? If you take a 2 month break, you don't have to put it on your resume. You can
Hmm.
address it if you want to, but like they probably won't notice. But my break was 20 months. People will notice a
A
20
long
month break,
time.
right? But I was willing to believe it was a benefit and an asset to the companies I was applying to. So I was ready to talk about it. In my interviews, about 50% of the interviews I had, people would ask me about my break. They would ask me
Hmm.
questions like, what was a moment you were proud of? Were you afraid? Were you scared? What was the hardest thing you experienced? What was
Oh,
one of the best
wow.
things? Because they're curious, they're humans. You get to
Hmm.
frame the narrative and decide, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And if you show up believing it's a good thing, you will influence the people that you're connecting with and meeting with to believe that it is a good thing as well. And they're humans. like you've done something really unusual and kind of scary, but awesome and courageous. They're going to want to understand more about that. And if you're like, yeah, I'll tell you all about it, they're like, that's really cool. But if you're like, please don't ask me about it, like, let's just talk about my boring work stuff, they're going to be like,
Mhm,
oh, okay. Like, apparently your break was a really bad experience and you just took a
mhm.
break because you were burnt out and couldn't hang anymore, you know?
There are so many facets to what you've just said. I mean, there's a whole bit about if you feel insecure, everybody will feel insecure around you. If you show up
Hmm.
confidently, then people will be curious and go like, oh, tell us more. And I love what you said that they said, tell us about the great experience. It's like your typical interview questions, like your star model. Tell us the situation, the task, but you can
Yeah.
pick
Yeah.
things from your career break and use that to even align to the CV and the job description. And yeah, human beings are curious. And when you said hamster walking, like, yeah, I'm ready. I just imagine some cool hamster with some glasses, like threw off the shades and ran. Yes, I should be writing children's books at this rate.
Yeah.
This
Yes, you
this
should.
is this is this is amazing. I think it will give a lot of people confidence, a lot of people hope. And for those who may have been curious and go like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll think about it some more. Maybe I'll put that on hold. Or maybe, oh my goodness, I don't have enough money. Let me go and save up for that. I think
Yeah.
this really, really helps. Katrina helps a lot. I will do a quick search through the chat to see if there are any more questions for us at this time. I cannot, luckily I have the chat up now, so I can like look at you
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can see all the chats. Yeah. So we've asked almost all the questions. I think there's one more. How do people reach you? How do people follow you? I'm sure that I have been following since I read the book, and I really love the podcast that just come up. Oh, Katrina's on a podcast. I'm like, yay! Now go and listen to that. And I'm like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And now you're on
Yeah.
Career Break Exchange. Really, really happy. But before you answer that question, for those who are watching live, again, Career Break Exchange is a community. It's non-profit. We are mostly on WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp channel. Just look to the description of this live, YouTube live to access it. We try and provide resources for all the stages of your journey, whether you're just plain curious, want to know more, you want to make a decision, you want to plan, you want to enjoy your career break, you want to come back from a career break. Oh, let me just add Katrina's Onion to do times two and go again. Please join us on the platform. We share all sorts of resources from different people, and we are happy. So happy. In fact, it was because of Career Break Exchange that I read the book because I'm like, I need more knowledge to kind of help people know what I don't know. And now we have
Yeah.
Katrina on the call. So thank you so much, Katrina, for joining us. How can people reach you? I know you're a career break coach, but are you open to mentoring? Are you open to taking clients? Yes, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
And if there was someone who wanted to be a career break coach, what would be the first thing you tell them? So those are two questions. How do they reach you? And what's the first thing you tell a wannabe career break coach?
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, reaching me, as far as social media goes, I show up on LinkedIn. That's where I share the majority of the content. So if I do interviews for podcasts or I want to create content or new resources, that's where you'll find it. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. If you want to follow me in a closer way and you want me to show up in your inbox, you can download my free resource, which is called 45 Epic Things to Do on a Break. So
Mm,
basically, over the years of coaching different clients who've done many different things, I have collected 45 of the coolest ideas and things that they've
wow.
actually done on their break and put it into a list. So you can get the list and then you'll be on my email list as well. So you'll be the first to know anytime I offer something new or give away prizes or just do fun stuff, but also share resources. So I recommend that for sure if you want to be in my world and get things like just delivered to you that help you take a break. But outside of that, I am taking clients and I'm co-launching with another sabbatical coach, a community that is around coaching and supporting people on a break. And so
Oh,
that's coming later this fall. So I get to put my use as a coach in this bubble with other people and do more of a group coaching type of format, which I'm excited for. But I also do one-on-one coaching. That's my jam. That's what I love. I love one-on-one coaching. Yeah, I have a couple clients now, but I always leave a spot for somebody that I really think I can help, that really wants my help. So I love that so much. And as far as, so is it if somebody wants to become a coach like me, like if they want to become a career break coach, is that the
Yes,
question?
that's the
Yeah.
question. What's the first thing you tell them? There'll be a lot,
Yeah.
but what's this
Yeah. A
thing that they
lot. Yeah,
have
I
to
know.
do or have to know? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how this, like, I don't know what other people would say, but this is my answer based off of my experience. I have seen new career break coaches emerging. I've actually seen a lot of them emerging in the last 2 years, like 18 to 24 months. And here's
Mm,
my perspective on it. If you want to be a consultant, meaning people come to you with problems and you brainstorm solutions, it's totally fine to just use your experience to consult. But if you want to be a coach, I highly recommend, whether it's a formal certification or it's just some courses in like coaching, I highly recommend
mm,
that you invest time in learning more about coaching, about life coaching, because so much of what I need to help people with is
mm-hmm,
mental, it's mindset. It's
mm,
not as much as you would think about the numbers and other things. I mean, that helps, right? I do consult on those problems, but I think it's really helpful to people to take a break that changes their life. And if you want someone to have that kind of a break, you can't just tell them how to do things the way that you've done it. And you
yeah,
can't just problem solve. Sometimes you have to know how to pull out their truth, their wisdom, because their break is going to look different than everybody else's break in some way,
yeah.
shape, or form. So I think it's important to be well versed in having tools to be unbiased and to
Mm-hmm,
allow that person to find their own truth and their own wisdom instead of only consulting in a way where you're just giving them facts and tactical tips. Those are important. Those have a place, but that's more consulting. So if you want to be a career break coach, I would say make
mm-hmm.
sure that you have invested in also becoming just a good coach,
A
period.
coach. I love that. I love that. If I could pre-answer your question, like go on a career break yourself, but I love what you said that
That's,
you may
yeah.
just end up telling them what you did and what you think they should do instead of really coaching them and giving them this awesome experience that changes their lives. Because I think that's the true thing about a good career break. It changes your life. And I haven't, well, I haven't really gone on one before I had a break. But even that changed my life. I think that gave birth to a lot of things that I'm known for now. But for a career break to really change your life and for you to support a person, not just with the numbers or a to-do list, invest comes up again, invest in being a coach. I'm happy to say that we have one more. We have space for one more question from the chat, and then I'll take your final words. Um, Oh, it's actually not a question. It's a comment. It says, I have taken a career break, and unfortunately, not all employers have been that thrilled about it here in Ghana. I think I know some employees personally who will not be as well, and some will be plain curious. However, I use that feedback to distinguish who will be a good progressive employer. And
Yes.
I love that you said that earlier, that you could end up during that re-entry period go like, no, this is not the kind of job I want anymore, because you've given
Yeah.
yourself permission to really go on that career break and really find yourself or really enjoy the time off and then come back and go like, I'm not going to do that. No, thank you. I will look for something else. And you have this re-entry period that cushions you to do that.
Yes,
Um,
I love that comment. I just want to say I love that comment and that the person had the courage to frame it in a positive light, because that was going to be the advice I would give in that circumstance, is view it
mhm,
as a filter for, I mean, if somebody doesn't believe it's good that you went to take care of yourself, and again, that you're restored and that you are not burnt out and you're excited, like I'm so excited to contribute to your
mhm,
company now that I'm restored, it's a sign that they don't value your life and they don't value your well-being in the way that you
mm,
would want them to. So it is a
yeah,
really great filter, and it is information about helping you pre-select who's even worth your
mm.
time. So I love that they got there on their own. I think that's a really great way to look at it.
Lovely, lovely. Same person says it's amazing, lovely conversation, and she is thrilled to meet a pro. So, Katrina, before you go, I'd love to ask a favor. The links that you said, grateful if you can drop them in the chat afterwards. I think some people would watch later. There have been a lot more people come onto the conversation, so really happy that you shared your wisdom, your knowledge, and your experience with them. Final words. If there was one thing, absolutely one thing you'd want anyone listening to this remember, if they forgot everything about this call, if there was one thing, what would that be?
So hard, but my one thing that I would say today, this is the one thing that comes up for me. You have to give yourself permission to live the life that you want, whether it's
Mm,
taking a break or doing something else, starting your own business, just, moving across the world. You are your biggest obstacle in the way that if you can't give yourself permission to do it, nothing is really ever going to make it feel right. You
mm,
have to decide. I'm a person who goes for my life even when it's uncomfortable, even when I'm not sure how I'm going to get from A to Z. I'll just worry about A to B for today and then tomorrow from B to C, right? Because this is it. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. You don't get bonus points and a golden trophy at the end of your life for doing it right and then get to go back and have some fun. Like, this is it. You have to make it count because this is all the time that we have. Today is all we're guaranteed. So I just really want, if you're watching this, I want you to feel like you get to give yourself permission. And if you can't do it today, I want you to put in the work to really practice understanding all the ways that you show up for yourself, all the skills that you have, all the ways you help other people, and then turn that into helping yourself and give yourself
mm,
permission to live a life that feels good. And I think a break is a part of that. But it's like if you can't do it, right? If you can't give yourself permission, it's important that you find a way to really understand the value of what's at stake because
mm,
that is what I see holding most people back from taking a break. At the end of the day, even when they have the money or could get the money, even when they like could really do it, they just struggle to give themselves permission to do life their way and to take care of themselves and give themselves the thing that they really want. And I don't do that. I give myself permission. I don't struggle with that. And I think that's how I've ended up where I am today is because when I want it, I might not know how I'm going to get it, but I take the first tiny step and keep going to figure out how I'm going to make it happen.
there's tiny steps. For me, I have the knowledge of your book, and I know you've coached people who have families, coached people who even had aging parents that they needed to take care of and needed money for, but still went on a break. And your break doesn't have to be 20 months long, but hey, if you want to do
No,
50
it
months,
doesn't.
please plan it out. Why not? Katrina, it's been so amazing having, for me, this is just surreal. Thank you for making the time. Appreciate it a lot. And we thanks to all our viewers who drop by to listen to this conversation. All those who come and listen later. It's been amazing. This is Career Break Exchange. It's your go-to nonprofit community in Ghana, right here. We want to make career breaks more realistic, more achievable, something that people can actually give themselves permission. And I'll take Katrina's word to explore, even if you're just curious or to make a decision to go or to plan for it or to enjoy it or to return from it or to hype your experience whilst you're in an interview. I picked the tenth rule right there. Please follow us on our WhatsApp channel. You find it in the link. And Katrina would also be dropping some information in the chat after the live event so that if you want to reach her or follow her 45 is it resources? I can't remember what it was. I remember the number
Yeah, things
45.
to do. Yeah, 45 things
Things
to
to
do.
do. Yes. Please, let's make the use of these resources. And it's really, really a privilege to come to you today and really a privilege to speak with Katrina. So thank you so much, Katrina. Wow, we did it.
We did
I
it.
am
This
so
was so
glad.
great.
Yes, so just say a quick bye-bye to our viewers. Thanks for joining. Bye, guys.